I don't like to talk about this much because it brings back too many memories. But one of her friends offered to drive them home, and it's a shame because she didn't know that after the first sip of alcohol, you're 87% more likely to have a car accident. They should have just taken a cab. But after it happened, me and my dad, we were sitting on the couch, and I remember like it was yesterday. We were watching a new episode of Mob Wives, and we got a call from Martin Memorial, and they had her autopsy. It was so quick, and it threw me into a deep depression. I needed that female attention in the house. I missed her instantly. It was like she was just taken out of my life, and I didn't get the chance to say goodbye. And I couldn't function at all. I just lay there for weeks and weeks at a time. I wouldn't shower, I wouldn't eat, I wouldn't do anything. I was a mess. I just cried, stared at the memories. But I tell you right now that if I wouldn't have got attention and I wouldn't have gotten help at that moment, I would have self-destruct. And I'm so glad that my father, James Whitfield Washington, was the man that he was, because he noticed that I needed that help, and he took help for me. So.
I'm sorry, I'm back. I was just reading that really fast, but back to the story. I never met my mother. I only know her name and her looks by picture. She was never part of my life. I never talked to her, touched her, looked at her. I've never even been in her arms. My dad used to tell me stories about how they met. You know, the occasional beer, partying, a quick hookup, even though they were back to their regular lives. They weren't married, of course not, but it was just a fling. However, she was married, but Dad didn't want much more than a one-night stand, and she didn't want much less. It was an accident. It was supposed to be a fun experience, but they weren't careful. Lee was born. She couldn't dare let her husband find out that she cheated, let alone had another baby. So she handed me over to my dad, and this is where everything started. The whole time I was in foster home, I felt sad. I would never smile, I'd never laugh, I just moped. I would be distant from the world, I'd seclude myself. 3 years of that madness, I practically went insane. I couldn't focus, I'd have random outbursts, I'd cry for long periods of time. It was just hell. Then one day a family came to view me. I'll never forget the Gilchrist. Mark and Rachel Gilchrist. They were so kind and gentle with me, but I had this warped view on everyone that everyone was trying to hurt me, that I was the victim of everything with this thinking. I caused myself to build a barrier. I wouldn't open up to them. I just couldn't. I couldn't risk getting hurt again.
About a year later, I checked into Mark Memorial, and that's when I met my psychologist, Dr. Bernstein. And he was a very positive guy. He had a positive view on everything. He'd always tell me how beautiful I looked that day, and that helped me a lot because I needed that positive energy around me. And I was tired of being in a negative field, and I needed to get a different view on things. And he would just sit there and listen to me. And I felt that I could talk to him because I've always been the person to run in my room and just sit there and keep it all inside of me, which caused me to have outbursts. And it caused me to always feel like I was bogged down with feelings because I never expressed the way I felt. So he would just sit there and I just tell him everything. And he'd listen. And I felt that true listening. And he wasn't just saying, because I was talking, but he was actually hearing what I had to say. And yeah, I give him a lot of credit to who I am now, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be the way I am now. So I thank him a lot for that. Thank you, Dr. Bernstein.